What makes you, you? Is it your physical attributes and appearance? If so, are you a different person every time you switch shirts? How about haircuts? What about being run over by a bus? Say that either disfigured or disabled, you survive. Are you still you or someone new?
Maybe you are your personality, your sense of humour, your values. What if they change? Or are you a combination of inherited genetics and early life lessons? Are all your actions predetermined, or can you choose who you want to be? If so, are you your actions?
All these, to a less or greater extent, and determined or predetermined solely by yourself, make up the singularity that is you.
You are the answers given to these questions, the implications those carry, and much more. Whatever combination of responses is unique to you will inevitably increase in rarity the more questions we add, until the only commonality we all share is our own contribution to the world's diversity quota. The only thing every single one of us will have in common with every other individual will be individuality. This universal disparity is the source of our separation and fuel for our connection, carved into the essence of humanity. So what happens when they take it away from us? Where Arcane's original season asked its characters what price they would be willing to pay for their ambitions, Season 2 asked them, after everything they've been through, after everything they've done, was it worth it? The misery, the prejudice and violence, the betrayals, grudges and guilt, the pains, cuts, bruises and scars. What would it take to fix what was broken? Season 1 dwelled on the complexities of its dilemma by showing us the questions raised, the sacrifices proffered, the dreams unmade. A story of opposites, everyone either paid up or gave up their ambitions.
I never would have given you to them.
Those were the options.
Not for anything.
Season 2 dwells on the complexities of its dilemma by presenting two alternatives. A story of opposites. You can either accept or fix what was broken. Those are the options, and only one of them is right. But before we can determine which one, first we must identify what was broken. It would appear everything was. With the council destroyed, Piltover sought refuge in strength. With their leadership severed, the gangs lost themselves to greed. With his best friend lethally wounded, Jace gave in to fear. Kate surrendered her grief to wrath, Guild had Vi give up powder, Jinx let reclusion dull her sorrow. It would appear everyone was broken. Driven blindly down the avenue of emotion, they crossed mistake after mistake after mistake. If only there was some way to stop the pain. To this turmoil, Victor awakens, to a misery painting of the burdened hurting. Detached, he seeks to help end their suffering, healing the wounds of the past to make for a brighter future. Victor stops the pain. He does so not through the erasure of hurtful memory, but the suppression of feeling. All those scalding emotions which had Kate gassing the lanes, Vi hunting her sister, and Jace breaking his promise, Victor cools and contains. The Herald's acolytes find peace in emotional isolation, a controlled environment of unified thought. His commune grows to welcome all those hurting without discrimination or required compensation. Here you will be fixed. Here you will not be attacked. Here you will be ensured such safety as is only possible in a place which brooks no social, political, economical, intellectual, or physical hierarchies, protected by the white cloak of equality.
This way, the community keeps the peace through a kind of uniformity, which comes at the necessary sacrifice of each member's individuality. In exchange, they become part of something bigger, of something averse to conflict, violence, and all sources of pain. They become sheltered. Then, if the ultimate goal is the suppression of pain, all this society needs to achieve perfect realization are two more things. 1. Protection from outside intervention. Security. 2. Protection from nature's degradation. Immortality.
Nothing much, right? Yet one cannot help but wonder at the possibility. This would bring an end to all violence, prejudice, inequality. We would be safe. The problem would be fixed. We would have a world without pain. Who doesn't want that? Maybe nobody should. You see, this great homogenization, this glorious evolution, as Victor will come to call it, was already asking a lot from its followers before we ever started talking fantasy. Death cures aside, for such a community to exist, the individual must desist. This unification demands the removal of that which makes you unique, that which makes you you, and different from me and everyone else. Without difference, there may be no conflict, yes, but without difference, there may be no connection either.
The whole purpose of a community crumbles when everyone looks the same and acts the same and thinks the same, because there is no such thing as a community of one.
Without difference, there can be neither challenge nor learning, neither beauty nor revulsion, neither love nor hate. Emotions themselves are called by the repression of the greatest source. Change. Distinction erased, impassivity takes place, spreading like blood on a canvas. Indifference becomes the norm and apathy routine, a wasteland where nothing can grow.
I will miss our talks.
No type of relationship would be possible in Victor's world because there is no such thing as a relationship of one.
You won't.
And sure, things in common are nice, but if it truly were only commonalities that we look for in other people, we would never betray our own reflections. If our friends and partners and relatives and colleagues were all the same as us, there would be no room for growth, challenge or support. There would exist nothing they could say that we couldn't ourselves.
I'm a misfit too.
That's why the best people in our lives are different enough to know what we don't, to consider the alternate approach, to reveal what we are blind to. They encourage and assist, but they also reject and dispute. They push and slap us in the face when they have to, as they should.
Yeah, I know.
How empty life would be if I only had myself to talk to. And I like the sound of my voice. But it gets worse.
You need not suffer anymore.
As if we had evolved into consciousness solely for the avoidance of its experience, as if pain and fear were not our greatest motivators, the force behind our progress. Without them, there is no will, no desires, no dreams. Without pain, there is less of you. Even when without you, there is less pain. Yes, it hurts, but it has before, and here you are now. You overcame and can do it again. Were it a choice, you can't choose to feel less pain. You can only choose to feel less. Excitement, joy, pride, love, and all the rest would also be repressed, replaced by the hollow indifference of dead things. A world without feeling is a world without life, a stasis of nature everlasting, apathetic and desireless, fields of dreamless solitude. How boring life would be if I didn't fear before the jump. So what is the alternative? Pain, to feel so bad you can't breathe? So bad you want to punch through the wall? Sort of. The alternative is acceptance, and it hurts and it sucks. Acceptance as a process requires a dangerous submission to reality and the emotions garnered from it, and these don't always promote the most sensible of actions. They're the reason Kate oppressed the Undercity, why Vi fell into addiction, why Echo disregarded powder. If you're not careful, they can drive you so far down you can no longer see the light. They can be so intense they inhibit any action but harmful action, self-inflicted or otherwise. They can blind you to consequence and manipulation.
They can sunder empathy.
Why does anyone commit acts others deem unspeakable? For love.
Feeling makes us vulnerable. When alone, we risk its perpetuity. When accompanied, we risk outside influence and become dependent on the quality of external intention. But what is undeniable is that emotion is a force, prompted by and provoking change, a chain reaction. It can push us to calamity just as much as it can push us to greatness. It is that which inspires us to our greatest good and our greatest evil. And it is the most worthwhile risk we can ever take, to dare feel intensely. The question is, how do we avoid calamity? We don't. Not if by calamity we mean pain. Because then we would be killing a part of who we are. We would be purging both bad and good, leaving us lesser for it. The way to avoid it is to accept it for what it is, which should not be confused with doing nothing. Acceptance is an active process, a series of actions by which emotion is tempered with emotion, enabling empathy and the chance to see things from stranger eyes, to unlock impossible alternatives. First among these actions is observation of reality beyond and within you. After the night Silco attacked, Echo was orphaned. The father he could have sheltered behind was gone, the idol he could have followed had disappeared, and the best friend he could have turned to someone else. Alone, he hid behind a cause, to have no other experience the same abandonment he did, to offer them the support no one offered him, all while his only remaining friend found it at the source of all his pain. Betrayal fed resentment, the pain growing until his eyes could no longer see powder, only Jinx. How could she do that to him? Why must he feel this way? If only there was some way to stop the pain. Having dwelled on these emotions, on what he missed, what could have been, expression comes next. With that storm raging inside, some feeling must be let out. If not, it will manifest in destructive ways, never leaving room for anything else, and hurting all around.
Was it you?
You should leave. Go, before I do something I regret.
This does not justify the extreme. Just because you feel bad doesn't mean you get to treat others that way. What it means is that you must manifest your emotions, be it verbally, artistically, physically or otherwise, to fully understand where you are coming from. Only then can you see what your emotions were blinding you to. Only then can you make room
What are you waiting for?
empathy.
He's your dad too.
Dragging me through the...
Empathy allows Echo the chance to alter the premise with which he interprets the world, unveiling perspectives he could have never used before.
Nothing scared her.
No, not my sister. But I was strong because she was afraid.
Hence, Echo doesn't need to stop fearing and hoping and feeling to be strong. He needs to start. Then, no longer bound by resentment, Bento can stop being the father he lost and start being the father he was lucky to have. Powder can stop being the friend who broke his heart and start being the friend who needs his help. Even Silco gets a chance.
Greatest thing we can do in life is find the power to forgive.
Ironically, the one who used to be the reminder of all the good that was lost starts being the reminder of all the good that could be.
I used to dream the Undercity could be like this. But somewhere, I got consumed by all the ways it wasn't. I gave up on it. Gave up on you.
And working together becomes a possibility.
I've never seen you give up on anything, Echo.
What Arcane is saying is that acceptance enables empathy, that through empathy we can better understand others and ourselves, and that through understanding we can heal, both the individual and the collective.
You're hurting too.
With the support of others, this is how Echo saves Jinx, how Kate gives up vengeance, allowing Vi in turn to give up guilt.
It's how the city finds peace, and it's how Jace gets his partner back. Acceptance is everything Victor's commune was lacking. Although they welcomed all, they accepted none, because requisite for healing was the sacrifice of their being. Individuality removed, there can be neither understanding nor empathy, no place for connection or room for growth. Healing doesn't even apply. They were trying to fix themselves, coming at their suffering from a place of disdain rather than acceptance, and damning the whole affair.
You've always wanted to cure what you thought were weaknesses. Your leg. Your disease.
They couldn't accept themselves, and because of that, they couldn't accept anyone else.
But you were never broken, Victor.
There was never anything to fix. Nothing was broken because all those imperfections make them who they are. Just like fear made Vi strong, Victor's disease made him into someone willing to give up all of his time and all of his mind to give up his life for the benefit of others.
There is beauty in imperfections. They made you who you are. An inseparable piece of everything.
And this does not mean that you should not strive to grow, to improve, to dream, that you should accept your disadvantages or identify with your failures. You can always work for more when coming from a place of acceptance. There will always be a good version of you. What it means is that you should dream dreams which leave room for imperfection, for struggle, for obstacles and failures. We should dream dreams of perfect imperfection. There's a beauty in changes, and we should all try.